fires, and we're seeing career fires, 100,000 plus acres is a common occurrence every year now.
It's the new normal.
The resources are spread through the state as we're burning from the Oregon border down to Mexico.
California is on track to have an even more devastating fire season than 2020, which was the worst on record with 4.1 million acres charred.
Being from California, I'm sure you hear that this fire season is going to be the worst fire season, right? Every year we hear that.
Which means their grueling work must go on for longer, in days of 100-plus temperatures in some places. And once the big flames are smothered, days of intricate work begin on hidden hotspots. There is one goal in mind: save lives and then property. Are you proud? You look around this entire house and it's charred 360 around this house.
Oh, yeah.
But the house, perfect.
Yeah, the house is still standing.
But 250 miles away in Doyle, the local fire volunteers are devastated and residents are worried they're at the beginning of what used to be the start of fire season. Sarah Seidner, CNN, Doyle, California.
Just a snippet of the incredible work the fire volunteers and firefighters are doing. Let's talk to Joseph Tomlinson. He is a former member of the Los Padres Hot Shots, an elite Forest Service wildland firefighting crew in California. He's also the author of Triangle of Fire. Joseph, good morning to you. Thank you so much for waking up with us here on New Day. You heard it there from our Sarah Seidner. I mean, this year's fire season has just begun, and it's already really bad. That is what's been anticipated. It's extremely hot, extremely dry. We're dealing with climate change. There's a drought. What are the biggest challenges facing fire crews right now in the western U.S.?
Good morning, Amara. I'm sorry. The biggest issue with the crews is they're spread super thin. There's the fires go on, and there's just no end in sight. The fuels are extremely dry. The wilderness is not getting any rain. One of the things I think people back east that are in downpours and drenched don't really quite understand how dry the western U.S. is, where the trees are dying in the trees, or excuse me, in the forests, and it's just a tinderbox.
Yeah, and speaking to that point, and drawing from your experience as a former hotshot firefighter, which means, I mean, some people may not know what a hotshot firefighter does. I mean, you fought fires in the most dangerous, rugged, remote places. You basically go where the fire equipment can't go. You're hiking, 10s and 20s, 30 miles with 50 pounds of equipment on your back. How has the job of a hotshot firefighter changed as a result of these worsening fire seasons?
Hotshots are all hand crews. You're using chainsaws and Pulaskis and shovels. So it's all by hand. Firefighters are dropped off in remote areas, either via helicopter or hiking in. And so it's actually one of the throwback positions where technology hasn't really caught up, because when you're out 30 miles away from the nearest civilization, you're just reliant on your hand tools and your teammates. So it's actually kind of a wild thing when you think about living in 2021 that people are fighting these huge mammoth fires, really with machinery that's 50 years old.
Yeah, with their hands, no less. I mean, hot shots, take on life-risking jobs, working 24-hour days, and people would assume that those kinds of jobs, this is a federal job, make a lot of money, but that's not the case. At all. I was looking at the numbers. The United States Forest Service pays hotshots $38,000, if I'm correct, and state pay is $70,000. That's what I heard in a Senate hearing. I want to play sound for you from President Biden at a meeting with Western governors just a few weeks ago regarding that. Take a listen.
Last week, I learned that some of our federal firefighters are being paid less than $13 an hour. Come on, man. That's unacceptable to me. and I immediately directed my team to take decisive action to fix it. So today we're announcing what I still think is not enough. This year we're going to provide retention incentives that's going to ensure federal wildland fires, our firefighters are making at least $15 an hour, and provide for additional 10% bonuses for those working on the front lines.
At least $15 an hour and a 10% bonus. Does that sound like enough to you?
Not by a long shot. The Forest Service is always prided itself on being utilizing all resources for logging and grazing and livestock, and the firefighters within the Forest Service are not even designated as firefighters. Their job title is actually forestry technician, and if you think about it, there's local restaurants that are paying people $15 an hour, which is a fair wage, and unfortunately the hotshots that are out there working, they're solely reliant on working thousands of hours of overtime every year just to make ends meet.
And that begs the question. I'm sorry to cut you off here because we're running out of time, Joseph. But how do you get people to stay in these jobs? There's a shortage of hotshot firefighters while the fires are getting worse. What are your former colleagues telling you about how they feel and about why some of them are quitting?
Well, there's a lot of people that are discouraged, and keeping retention has always been difficult. It's such a physically demanding job that there's always turnover in the crews. But even with long-term employees, it's very difficult to retain the experienced leadership, and it's somewhat of an issue. Psychologically, mentally, the demands of the position are getting worse and worse with these extended, nonstop fires. The mental breakdown is really tough.
It's not just physical, which is monumental. It's back-breaking work, but you're also talking about mental challenges as well for these firefighters on the front lines. Joseph Tomlinson, appreciate you joining us. Thank you for this conversation.
Thank you.
We're following some news just into CNN from the Northeast. Boston Fire Department rescue teams